pennies, just pennies, on a black canvas arranged into the face of Abraham Lincoln. And I asked the guy, I said, how much is that painting worth? He said, $600,000, sir. And I looked at the pennies that made up the painting, and I was like, that's like $300 worth of pennies. A light bulb went in my head. I realized the value of art. Some of the biggest wars and crimes and scandals in history were financed through the theft of art. Art is a powerful commodity. And artists, if you're good at it, should never behave as a commodity. That's a tough one. And then I gave up. I said, this is probably it. I accepted the fact that the career I thought I was gonna have was over, but I started to rediscover just my art for its own sake. I would go to comedy clubs, and I worked for way less money than I ever had, and I enjoyed it more than any of the work I ever did. It was probably the best work I'll ever do, because it was so honest. It was so sincere. There was no media, there was no studio, there was no scrutiny, just me and the crowds. And I did it night after night, and slowly but surely the crowds got bigger and bigger. And then suddenly people started to notice, and Polestar would say, Dave Chappelle has the tour of the year. And again, and then the year after that, and then the year after that. And then Lorne Michaels asked me to do Saturday Night Live. And it wasn't just like he asked me, he was courting me. I didn't even know it. He gave me this whole long speech. I was like, all right. And then I read some book about Lorne Michaels starting Saturday Night Live, and I read the speech that he gave Richard Pryor when he wanted him to host the show, and I said, holy shit, that's the same shit he said to me. And I did it. And that was an enormous amount of pressure. It had been 12 years since I had been on television, or since I had even talked to the media. And I remember I signed my Netflix contract on my way to my mark for the monologue. If you do live television, they count down every second. 30 seconds. Are you sure this contract is good? It's good, just sign the paper, it's good. 22 seconds. Oh, nigga, you better not be tricking me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I walked out on that stage and I killed it. It was natural. It was nothing. It was easy work. Got an Emmy for that one, too. First Emmy I won. And when I walked on the stage, after being in the cold for so long, for the first time when I walked on the stage, I'm like, damn, nigga, I just made $60 million. That's what I thought to myself. It's been great ever since. And really, I could do these specials like Steph Curry. I'll be shooting from inside, outside, all night. It's been great ever since. A lot of my friends are athletes, and I never could understand what it would feel like to only have a limited amount of time to be great. You got 20 years to be the best, or 30 years to be the best. But when you do art, you could be great whenever the will decides that you're great. I feel very lucky for that. And I never forgot this school. I've always come back and checked in. One of my favorite honors was doing the commencement at Ellington. I can't even remember what year it is. I just remember they cheered for me when I came out. I wasn't a big star, but I was their star. And I felt like I was home. After I did Lorne Michaels, after I did Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels said something that I gotta share with you. He goes, you went to Peggy Caford School, didn't you? That's what he said. And I said, I did. And he said, I want to say to Saturday Night Live, he goes, tell her I owe her money. You know, I never asked to have this theater named after me. Peggy asked me. She was ailing, and I went to her house to visit her. She said, I want you to put your name on the school. She said, it will help us raise money for the school. And to me, it was like, I felt like I'm a little young for that, and I'm still kind of using the name, you know what I mean? Let's see what I do with it first. You never know, you know. Like, imagine if OJ named his son OJ Jr. Oh, Dad. And around then, I was receiving the Mark Twain Prize, huge honor. And the next day, all the artists that came to honor me, the Bradley Coopers and Chris Tuckers and all these great people, came to Ellington, and they taught master classes for the students. And Peggy Cooper Capritz, as sick as she was, got out of her bed so she could be with her babies. She never left us. So I did it. Say, you know, whatever you want to do, however I can help, I'll do it. I got to tell you, if you quit a show like Chappelle's show, I don't know if you know what happens to you professionally, but I'll tell you what doesn't happen. They don't just say, well, good luck in your future endeavors. With that media, they beat me up. With their power, they tried to make me behave. It takes a strong person to stand out in the cold like that. And I swear to God, so much of the strength I got to do that, the inner warmth I got to do that, I learned in this school and from my friends who helped raise me. So why wouldn't I do anything I could to help my benefactor? And the last time I came back, after the closer, when the kids were mad at me, I gotta tell you, that was quite the day. All the kids were screaming and yelling. I remember I said to the kids, I go, well, okay, and a line formed. These kids said everything about gender and this and that and the other, but they didn't say anything about art. And this is my biggest gripe with this whole controversy with the closer, that you cannot report on an artist's work and remove artistic nuance from his words. It would be like if you were reading a newspaper and they say, man shot in the face by a 6-foot rabbit, expected to survive. You'd be like, oh my God. And they never tell you it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I took a lot of cold shots in show business. And I gotta tell you, as the years go on, you feel the shots less and less as just the business, is what you say. But that one, that day, boy, that day they hurt me. When I heard those talking points coming out of these children's faces, that really, sincerely hurt me. Because I know those kids didn't come up with those words. I've heard those words before. The more you say I can't say something, the more urgent it is for me to say it. And it has nothing to do with what you're saying I can't say. It has everything to do with my right, my freedom of artistic expression that is valuable to me, that is not separate from me. It's worth protecting for me, and it's worth protecting for everyone else who endeavors in our noble, noble professions. And these kids didn't understand that they were instruments of oppression. And I didn't get mad at them. They're kids, they're freshmen, they're not ready yet. They don't know. What made me mad, and I am this petty, I ain't saying names. One of the kids' mother went on Fox News. And she used to be a student here. I remember her face, but I don't know if she was particularly popular. Anyway. She was in the literary media arts department. She said a lot of things that I didn't like, a lot of things, but, you know, that's her right. Things she said that got to me. She said, at Duke Ellington, that theater was a sanctuary for students. I used to sit there and meditate. Well, of course you'd meditate. You were a literary media arts student. We didn't meditate in here, we got to work. But okay, fine. I would sit in there and meditate, she said. And then she scrunched her face up. She's a beautiful woman, but her face looked hideous the way she scrunched it up. And she said, and just to imagine his name on that theater.